I had a playthrough of this, but I deleted it because I didn't talk at all and the video would be very boring. I'd give this quest a 4 out of 10, but I'll give it a 5 out of 10. I'm being generous because this is the very first one. In the upper left it says events, plural, so there will be more, and this is the first time the Honkai Impact devs delved into character quests, so they might not have been used to it. We'll start with the pros, and that is of course Thelema herself. It was a pleasure to meet her and see what she's all about. Everything around learning about her I liked. How she brings human fears in the forefront of their mind to dominate them, that was really cool. There were a little too many of those sections, but it showed how attentive Thelema is and how she pulls out the little details that slip out of their mouths. It's like a cross-examination, except there's no crime committed. Thelema's just an ass. A snarky ass. I still don't know a lot about the clothes she sews and how that ties into controlling them, but that was interesting to learn about as well. I also liked Sanchi and Thelema's bond, and by bond I mean the cultured art that came out of this picture right here. You guys really went nuts with this one image, didn't you? Watching Thelema be flabbergasted at all the dumb things that Sanchi says were hilarious, as well as made me like Sanchi more. Unfortunately, this is where my praises end in terms of the story. After we learn about Thelema, we spent the majority of the quest chasing after a fake Mr. Bai. This fake Mr. Bai made up rumors about there being shadow calamities that are terrorizing Linkchu. That confused the hell out of me because there are shadows terrorizing Linkchu, so part of me was confused the entire quest. In the pursuit of this Mr. Bai, we go around questioning a lot of NPCs, and finally, after way too long talking to NPCs, we find Mr. Bai. At this point of the story, I was already drained from talking to NPCs for 30 minutes because I don't care about NPCs, and I didn't care about this fake Mr. Bai storyline anyways. But then it was revealed that none of it was actually real, and the Amber Street they stumbled upon was an illusion made by one of the 10 Faces of Misery this whole time. I will admit, them specifying that it was one of the 10 Faces of Misery, that did intrigue me, because that shadow could reappear in chapter 3 and be super dangerous for the main cast. But in this quest, it pissed me off because that whole section was basically a variation of the "it was all a dream" endings. You sent me on a wild goose chase for a man that didn't even exist in the first place. Why? Then there was a labyrinth we needed to escape, then a heart we needed to destroy for some reason. I barely even remember the ending because it was so confusing. I don't like this quest storyline at all. It's boring, it's slow, and part of me thinks they chose to do this because Thelema is a fairly normal, rich, bratty girl, and apart from the shadow powers, she has nothing else to offer, so they just put in this filler of a story to compensate. One more thing I want to talk about. During Domination, there's this mini game where Thelema throws her sewing needles at her victims. Like every other game in Honkai Impact 3rd, it's dead easy. I will say though, if you choose to do Master of All, which is just that mini game over and over again, it actually does get harder with obstacles. Not that much, but I still failed twice, which is an improvement from the really easy mini games that part 1 had, in my opinion, so it gets a plus for that. I will also say though, I don't like how the difficulty of this minigame starts ramping up in the optional content. Most people probably won't ever do Master of All, and the impression they'll have of that minigame will be that it is way too easy and it sucks, which is a real bummer. I'm not saying the minigame turns good once the difficulty ramps up, I'm just saying it's a shame they made it that way. That was all. A pretty short video today. I just wanted to talk about this quest because I love that there there are now character quests in this game, but this one was not that great. That's okay though, because it was the very first one, like I said. Who would you want a character quest for next? Personally, I would love a Lantern quest because we got some of her past in chapter 2, but that was definitely not all of it. I do definitely think we are going to get an Ajita character quest because we still know nothing about her, and chapter 3 is the last chapter of the arc. I would also love a Baiji character quest because he's the most important and mysterious one. Thank you so much for watching this video. Like and subscribe for more content on Honkai, and I will see you next time.